thank you everyone for tuning in to this interview on Project 402. I'm with my good friend Tim Davis, and I was saying everything just really feels off. We're in the midst of the COVID crisis or the coronavirus outbreak. I'm not wearing a watch. I forgot to wear a watch today, so I hope I'm not on my B game today. I hope I'm on my A game for you. But Tim, give everyone listening just kind of a little brief background about yourself, and kind of within that weave your story into how you got involved in politics here locally.
I grew up in Lexington over by Kearney, Nebraska, and been in Nebraska most of my life. Spent just a little bit of time up in Iowa. About 5 or 6 years ago, I moved back to Lincoln, and then was there for about a year, came to Omaha, and worked over at Granite City before they closed down. And sad news. And during that time, I got involved with Don Bacon's campaign, went and helped him with a bunch of the parades, a bunch of stuff like that. Talked to them about my interest into running for politics, and they contacted me about running for the Public Service Commission, so here I am.
What got you initially in contact with Don Bacon to get involved in the parades?
I was going to the Douglas County Republican Party's meetings, those monthly events, and then the Young Republicans, and they mentioned that they needed help with
you're wearing
just
your
some
pen.
volunteer stuff. Yeah, my Young Republican pen. But no, they mentioned that they needed help with the volunteers for Don's campaign, so I chose to jump on board.
I love it. Before that, were you like a keyboard warrior, or did you always have a passion for politics?
I loved to debate,
okay.
Not gonna lie, especially online during the 2016 election.
Sure.
It was great with all the fake news going out. I was one of those that used to have a file on my laptop that had a bunch of information that I saved on as things were coming out and stuff like that.
With fake news, or
no,
like to use
like statistics and stuff like that. So when I would go and be my keyboard warrior self, I would be able to just quickly pull up whatever information I needed, and boom, there it went. Love to use sites like CNN and MSNBC as my cited source, because then they couldn't. They can't argue the people that they cite themselves. So
people love arguing online, and they love arguing online without any statistics or links to back them up.
Yep.
So
or memes.
Yeah,
they think
memes.
Memes are a good source of information these days, I guess.
Always.
If it's a meme, it's gotta be true.
It must be true. So Public Service Commission, I always just say in Public Service Commissioner, it's Public Service Commission. I have so many questions about that.
Okay.
I'm not as knowledgeable about local politics, or politics in general, as I probably should be. I hate to admit that. But let's start with, is this a partisan race? Because I found out with the last interview that the position, the gentleman I had on, it was not even a partisan race. So is Public Service Commission partisan?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, got it. And then there are multiple districts. You said you're with District 2. You're running for District 2.
There's 5 districts. There's 5 commissioners that's with the Public Service Commission.
Okay. And what's District 2's jurisdiction then?
For the most part, it's 120th to Harrison, and then all the way east to the river. So
and what's
it's
the
about
north, the north boundary then?
It's right up by the 680. Interstate 680.
It's such a large.
It's the
area.
about 2/3 of the Douglas County.
Wow.
So it's geographically it's the smallest district, but you look at it from other aspects, it's one of the biggest. So
well, unfortunately, you can't
massive.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yes.
In terms of number of people, bodies, it's definitely the most.
Yes.
But unfortunately, you can't reach out to those bodies and knock on doors right now.
Nope.
So how has give me some insight into what your campaign looks like. I've never run for office. I don't know how much money that entails, anything like that. I just don't even know if you can share that. But how has it been changed and influenced by the most recent state of events?
Originally, of course, like everybody else, we were planning on door knocking. That was going to be, it's one of my favorite forms of campaigning. I'd rather door knock. You can't really figure out what the issues are for people if you're not out talking to the people.
Sure.
So rather than calling, I'm more of a face-to-face person. Most of my career, I've spent it being able to learn how to read people. So it's easier for me to be able to talk to somebody whenever I'm able to look at them.
Right.
But because we're not able to do that anymore, we had to go more digital. So starting tonight, actually, on Wednesdays, we're going to be doing a Facebook Live event at 6 o'clock. It's going to be only about 10-15 minutes, unless, of course, there's a lot of people that come on and ask questions. It's kind of like a virtual town hall, if that's what you want to kind of compare it to. So people are able throughout the week, they can email me at votedavis2020@gmail.com. Any questions that they have throughout the week. We'll talk about the things that the PSC, the Public Service Commission, the things that they regulate. So like the pipelines, because that's kind of big in the news right now. Things like that, the ride share, because I believe it's Uber is testing a new program where they set kind of a base price, and then the drivers can scale it from there on how much they want to actually charge per ride.
Yeah, let's actually stop. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, no.
Let's touch on that more. What all? I guess we probably should have started with that. What all does PSC? Is that a cool abbreviation?
Yeah,
does that make me cool? Is that what? Okay, sweet. What all does PSC oversee?
It regulates things like your rideshare programs, pipelines, the wireless 911 system, which is two of my actual campaign issues that I'm running on, as well as grain warehouse sales and your modular homes, stuff like that. Regulates things like that. Broadband.
Modular homes meaning what?
Like new construction modular homes.
Okay.
So kind of like the like celebrity homes, I believe.
Got it.
Are those, and then broadband. So broadband access, which is my third issue for my campaign. I'm running on the wireless 911 system, the broadband service statewide, not just for Douglas County.
You mentioned though in there a little bit briefly what your three goals you said that you're running on, essentially. Your three goals if you do get elected that you want to fix certain areas.
Yeah.
Elaborate on those, please, for everyone.
The three issues of my campaign this go around is the wireless 911 system, as well as pipelines and broadband access for not just Douglas County, but the entire state of Nebraska.
Got it. Well, that's foreign language to me, so let's break and for everyone else probably. So let's break those down. So the first one.
One of my big ones is the broadband access, because as we all can relate, the cellular service is something that we all use. It's part of our everyday life. Broadband access gives people statewide access to faster internet service and stuff like that. So growing up in rural Nebraska, I understand the issues of having access to proper internet systems and stuff like that. So
it's not just cell towers then. It's also you're talking
there's
about the actual
hotspots
cables,
and stuff like that. Yep.
Okay.
They're getting more out of the copper, but yeah, the fiber wire and stuff like that.
The wire. Okay. So would you be working with like Cox and CenturyLink? Okay.
Yep. Cox, CenturyLink, all the big telephone companies or telecommunication companies.
Got it. Now that's statewide though, you said.
Yep.
But you're only District 2.
I cover District 2, but I'll be working with the rest of the commissioners on those issues.
Got it.
I'm already talking with some of the companies such as like Cox and Windstream and stuff like that, just to kind of figure out what the issues that they're having. That way when I get elected in November, I can already know what's going on. So
I love the confidence. I do. I admire that.
Yep. There's no room for error.
You're a very competitive guy, I know.
Yes.
Well, I mean, you totally revamped Granite City's whole marketing strategy, I know, but unfortunately it just wasn't enough, obviously. But we won't go too far into that. So telecommunication and broadband access statewide. Pipelines, you said.
Yep.
So what are your objectives and goals for that?
I'm a big supporter of the pipeline industry because of the big job creations it has. Because I'm all about job creations and building the economy and stuff like that. So I support the pipelines for the job creations, the tax revenue that it brings in. It brings in millions of dollars in tax revenue from or for the local cities that they go through, the local areas that they go through, as well as if you want to compare it to the green industry and the people that are, that want to go green and all that stuff.
Sure.
The pipelines are actually the cleanest and the quickest way to get things through. Because if you think about it, if you're going to do oil, if you're going to ship it, the cost, if there's an oil spill there,
sure,
it's outrageous. Plus all of the marine life, it's going to affect.
Right. If people eat a lot of fish.
Exactly. Rail cars. If you think about that, if one of those go, that entire tank, and you're not going to have one, you're going to have multiple tanks that are going to tumble over.
Or whatever.
Exactly. And then, of course, if you want to go truck, you have
car accidents,
exhaust, car accidents. There's no way to transfer these materials 100% without any cause of issue. So if you think about all of the aspects of each way that you would transfer these not chemicals, but liquids. So you have your oil, your gases, your waters, and all that stuff.
Natural resources.
Exactly. The different ways to transport it, a pipeline is the way that makes sense the most. It's the easiest way to regulate it, to be able to keep an eye on it. Yes, you're going to have spills.
Always.
But you're going to have accidents. You're going to have oil spills everywhere. It's just part of it. There's no way to 100% guarantee that there's no accident.
What would the spills? How could the spills happen with a pipeline? Like they get punctured?
Leaks, stuff like that. Yeah, just leaks. Like there was one up in, I believe it was North Dakota, where there was like 380,000 gallons of oil that leaked out before they were able to stop it. Myself, I would question how that wasn't caught way beforehand. I haven't really looked into it that much yet.
Sure.
Because I'm curious exactly how did that not get caught.
Because we want to learn from past mistakes, even if they aren't our mistakes, obviously.
Exactly, because then you're able to stop them along the way. And the way technology is today, I don't understand why something like that wasn't recognized. Sure. Was it getting the equipment there? Was it somebody just not paying attention? We need to figure that out so that we don't have that happen again in the future.
Right.
Because a lot of these pipelines go through state parks and stuff like that. So,
and that's why people don't like them.
Exactly.
Right?
That's the big issue they're having.
Wasn't there another issue with it going through like Native American territory somewhere?
Yeah, that was, I believe that was just a few years ago.
I remember that pretty recently.
Yeah, they were afraid, I believe, that if there's a leak, it was going to go into the aquifer and stuff like that, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
Which, I mean, is a valid thing to worry about.
Sure.
Again, that's people's livelihood there. But between then and now, technology has gone so much further, expanded, that, in my opinion, we should be able to detect those leaks before they happen.
Right.
In my opinion.
You also mentioned something that is a pressing issue for everywhere, of course, but also especially our state, tax revenue.
Yes.
So like you said, it creates jobs, it creates taxes for the communities that the pipe goes through. That could be, I guess that's me just being a natural salesman, that I think, well, that could be a good sales pitch in, a pro pipeline initiative.
Yep.
So pipeline, broadband, and then you said 911 emergency services?
Yep, the wireless 911 system that they were, over the last couple of years, they've been voting on to try to expand the service across the state.
Now, if I remember correctly, sorry to cut you off,
No.
I think you had said you were even impacted personally, or someone you know was impacted personally by
yes.
something in regards to this.
Growing up, again, I grew up in rural Nebraska, where back when I lived out in the middle of a cornfield outside of Lexington, they didn't have road numbers like they do now.
Right.
So a lot of times it was easier to give the emergency team markers along the way on how to get to where you're at. Sure. So response time was really slow. So I've experienced that working at Granite City here in Omaha. Just response times getting to the restaurant, and we had units just not that far around from us. So the response time, them getting to the restaurant when there's an emergency, sometimes took a little bit longer than it should when they're just down the street.
Yeah.
And nothing against them, it's the system that we have. Lincoln just recently passed a $2.3 million program where they're updating the dispatch system.
So emergency response times. So
Yes.
you said they're obviously slower in rural parts of the state, but also you said Lincoln is trying to up theirs, and you said even Omaha, the response time wasn't adequate in your opinion.
Yes.
So what? Touch
And
on
again, that's
some of the
not
things.
that's not due to anything that's their fault. It's
The system's
just how the
behind.
systems exactly.
Okay, and so for someone that knows nothing about the systems behind, I just know
It's just
The
it's
guy.
outdated.
Okay.
So they're working on the next.
floppy disk outdated or
Pretty
like
much,
CDs.
yep.
Okay.
They might be the CDs at
Okay.
this point. It's because you got find somebody.
Sure.
Floppy disk, it's a little bit harder to find.
A little bit.
But no, Lincoln passed the $2.3 million project where they're updating their dispatch system so that the new system will be able to find the closest unit to wherever the emergency is at. Where right now the dispatcher has to find, I believe the dispatcher has to find the nearest unit due to tower pings, if I read the article correctly. Now the system will help be able to find the closest unit and send them off. So where my issue at the restaurant could have been them getting a hold of the closest unit, now the system will just take care of that for them.
Gotcha.
If I'm reading the reports correctly. I mean,
There's so
I've
much.
only just found out about it, so.
There's so much that goes into Public Service Commission.
Yes.
I mean, you even mentioned ride shares.
Yep.
So, like, if you get into office, you would be surely not talking to Uber, like, directly? Like, how does that conversation work?
I'm guessing that they would be working because I haven't done it yet.
Mhm.
So I'm guessing it would be just like as if you're running a business of any type, where you reach out to their
Delegation,
and
whichever person.
then take care of the third. I call him the middleman.
Yeah.
That relays the message from the conversation that you have.
Mhm. Gosh, okay. And so
But yes.
why this position? Why not senator? Why not school board? Why not NRT? What makes you passionate in particular about? I mean, you mentioned your 3 key issues.
Yeah.
But is there something deeper there? Like, have you personally
just-
been impacted? I know a little bit with the emergency response time, but have you ever been had a major cause?
Personally, no.
Mhm.
Originally, I was going to run for legislature in 2022, and this was presented to me. So I did some research and found out how much it actually impacts our everyday life. And with that, I've been the person who's always put my guests first, because they're the ones you want to make happy. So they're the ones that's going to keep your job. So I kind of wanted to do that on kind of a bigger scale. Originally with the legislature, I wanted to help get vets and people on disability back to work, which I still would love to visit with somebody about doing that.
Just
But
down the road.
Yeah, down the road.
Okay.
But right now, seeing the impact of what ride shares do to people in the service industry, being a manager at the restaurant, I have experienced and seen some of the things that they go through, having to get back and forth to work because their ride's taking forever, or because their ride is just canceled. The ride itself, strictly because of what part of town the pickup or drop off is at. I can't tell you how many phone calls I got saying I'm going to be late because my ride's not here, and I'm like, well, I know that's true because it happens constantly. So being in the Public Service Commission, I'm able to get more hands-on to figure out what's going on and do what we can to make those services better.
Well, since we're talking about politics, I can get political, which is nice. But that touches on a much bigger issue of transportation in Omaha in general. it's just sad to hear that, because I didn't realize that was such a big issue. That it's not just like a one-off thing, that you would have employees regularly being late, getting their rides canceled on them just because it's out of the way from the normal ride-sharing routes or whatever hubs that they like to stay by. I imagine to get more. It's probably more ROI positive to stay downtown, obviously, than to go to North Omaha or go to way west. I don't know, like anywhere. But I
didn't believe that they were actually canceling rides until I saw it myself.
Right.
And my host I thought she had a ride coming, and then I went and did my stuff, in the back and in the office, and came back about 45 minutes to an hour later, and she's still sitting at the bar. Waiting for a ride, and I'm like, "What are you doing here? Get out of here!"
That's frustrating. That's like in the middle of the city.
Exactly, and I'm just like, "Why?" And she told me that they keep canceling her ride because she had to go to North Omaha.
Wow.
And I'm like, that's not true. So I sat there, and she got one. A guy picked it up, and 2 minutes later,
I thought they don't see where you're going.
That's what I thought.
Mm-hmm.
So. I don't know. I sat there, and I don't know if it is because of the areas they're going. That's just what I can assume, because why else would you cancel a ride unless you had something there? But to see it happen 4 or 5 times in a row, the same night to the same person, it kind of makes me wonder.
Yeah, because I'd always heard that they don't show your destination or your destination until they pick you up. Because there was a story a couple years back of a lady from Omaha, or maybe it was Lincoln, who her flight got canceled to Colorado, but she needed to be to Colorado that night. And the Uber driver got there. He's like, "Where are we going?" And she goes, "Denver." He's like, "What?" And she's like, "Yeah, I'll, get the full money. Like, I'll pay you and I'll tip you really well for doing this." And he did it.
Oh yeah, I remember reading that.
I forget. Yep. Yeah.
And see, I thought the same thing as you did, and I'm still believing that's what it is. So again, what better way to do it than to be in the position of the people that look into that stuff?
Sure. So. But it's very sad that a third-party company is the only, not even alternative, the only option for some employees in town. The bus doesn't go there. The new Orbit line is just up and down Dodge. If you don't live within walking distance of Dodge, then that doesn't really do you any good.
No.
So I wish that Omaha would fix its transportation issue. That's just me kind of going on a soapbox there.
It's all right.
Because I think taxes are just such a big issue in town, and I think that if we create density along the main, technically highways, Dodge is technically a highway, Highway 6, create more density along these popular streets, then public transportation investments along those areas makes sense.
Yeah.
And as you create more density, then that's more people per square mile paying property taxes, and that lowers property taxes. Basically, I'm saying I want to be mayor. Gene.
Watch out, Gene.
Yeah. Maybe in 4 years. No. I don't know the election cycles of the mayor either. But so how long is the PSC, Public Service Commission, term?
The term is for 6 years.
6 years.
Yeah.
Wow. And
it's a long time.
Is your opponent running again? I know nothing about your opponent.
She's a first term, so she's running again. She's the incumbent this year.
Okay.
It's Crystal Rhodes. She's the chairwoman of the Douglas County Democrat Party.
Got it.
So anybody who knows me,
clout then.
Well, anybody who knows me knows that I like a good challenge. So. What better way than to take on the chairwoman, right?
Sure. I love it.
Got to crack a joke with that one somehow.
That would be very intimidating. I couldn't. You guys do so much work campaigning. It's unbelievable.
Nonstop. And then when you take a break from it, when you're really into it and you just step back for a second, if you're anything like me, you feel like you're not doing enough, or you feel guilty because you're not out there working on one more email or making one more call, because November's just right around the corner. I just feel like I just started campaigning and we're getting ready to do the primaries.
Right.
So it's going to get here before you know it. I mean, coronavirus isn't going to stop us, and obviously they're not going to slow down the election.
So one of my goals actually when starting Project 402, well, my initial goal was to make Omaha the next Chicago, which is the worst goal to have when starting anything ever, actually. And you might hate
You really
cities.
want to be connected with.
I love the energy. I love big cities. I like the setup. I like the
Chicago?
the pride of local businesses and different neighborhoods in town. Now I totally lost my train of thought because you were making fun of me.
No, I'm just like every city. You use the one with the highest crime rate.
Okay, that's true. That's because they don't allow guns. But that gets really political, so we might have to cut that out. We'll show you a reaction at least to that. But no, so what is your favorite thing about Omaha? Because I realized that I didn't really need to make Omaha the next Chicago because Omaha is already really amazing and I liked a lot of things about it. So that's where I was going with that. But
Gotcha.
that little
Gotcha.
tangent. But yeah, what is your favorite thing about Omaha?
I like the. Oh my God, you just totally put me on the spot here.
Yeah, it's a big question. I
It
mean,
is, because, I mean,
it doesn't
there's-
have to be just one thing. You can.
I mean, because there's a lot. I mean, I like the amount. I'm getting to be more of a outdoorsy person.
That's for sure. I follow you on Instagram and Facebook,
Yeah.
and every morning Tim's out there at like 5 or 6 a.m. like going for my morning run, and I see it 4 hours later when I wake up. I'm like, oh.
Oh yeah, I'm an early bird. I'm up about 3:30 or 4.
Jeez.
By the time everybody else is waking up, I'm done with my coffee and I'm going on with my day.
Love that. I wish I did that.
My partner hates it because planning meal times is really hard because my time frame of the day is different than his.
Right.
Because he sleeps in. If I slept in until 6 o'clock, I would be very, very upset.
That's
Like
just
my
not
whole day
sleeping,
would be ruined.
Really?
Yep. So the amount of trails that Omaha offers, and it's just not in one spot; it's downtown. All the outdoors activities that Omaha offers, and then they're expanding with Top Golf coming into town.
Yeah.
So just the different things that extracurricular activities, if that's what you want to call it, that it offers for people, and it's things that are free. I'm a really fiscal conservative, so I don't like to spend any more money than I have to. So I look at, when it comes to time for me and Brandon to go do anything, that's one of the first things we look at is what's it going to cost. If things that are more free, we're more willing to go to that. Not because we're cheap or anything, but I don't see the point unless it's a charity type of thing. We have no problem going to that. We actually love to go to a lot of museums and art shows and stuff like that, especially whenever it's for a good cause.
Something I found, I've known about it forever, but I didn't go to it until last year for the first time, was Jazz on the Green in Midtown Crossing. What?
We've been here 5 years, and every year we plan on going to do that, but my work never allowed it, so because I always had to work. Whenever
but it's like because it's the evening, so okay.
So for 5 years we've been wanting to go
to bring
Jazz
up
on the
then.
Green, and that just hurts.
It's a good time. But no, there's a lot of concerts that are free, and I like anything that attracts big crowds and brings a lot of people together, because it just, I don't know, you can see other people living, and it creates a sense of a tribe, a culture, really. I've been following you for a while on Facebook. I've known you for a little over a year now, actually. I just realized, I think it must be.
Probably almost a year and a half, almost,
I think so.
maybe, because of the networking breakfast that we did at Granite City.
I know.
You were a regular there.
I loved it. It's a good way to procrastinate my Monday.
Yeah, it's a great way to start the
best
week.
food. Oh my God, your guys' hash browns there were delicious. Everything was amazing.
I have to go to Lincoln now to get hash browns.
Yeah, well, I have a growler sitting empty on my counter and can't refill it.
Well, you have to go to Lincoln now.
So far.
For beer.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that. The $7 Tuesdays.
I
Spend
know,
more
right?
money on that driving there.
Exactly.
But yeah, so I've been following you on social media too. I usually invite people or connect with people, I guess is the phrase, online shortly after I meet them. At least I try to, if I like them at least, so that shows you that I like you. But one thing you've been doing a lot recently amidst the quarantine, I think you might have even started it before the quarantine, you were asking people like Fun Fact Friday.
Fun Fact Friday.
Yeah, tell people about Fun Fact
I love
Friday
Fun
and
Fact
what you're doing
Friday.
with that, what your goal is, and some fun facts about you.
Fun Fact Friday started because I was really bored one day when I was off work.
As many great ventures do.
Yep, and somebody had posted just a random thought about themselves on Facebook, and I was like, I have a fun fact about myself, and that's how it started. My first one was I can't stand still when I brush my teeth. I cannot do it. I go from the bathroom into the bedroom and I pace around the bedroom. I don't know why, but I've always done that. So I was like, that's a weird, random fact about myself.
Yeah.
Wonder what I could learn about my friends. So I did it once, and then I wanted to continue it, but I always forgot to do it. So then I was like, as a candidate for the PIC, what better way to get to know your constituents than to share a fun fact about yourself, and then maybe they'll share it back. And it took a while to take off. Now I'm learning some crazy things about some of the people that are around me. I've
lost any friends from it?
No, no, and it's great because there's people. Just this last week, a girl talked about a reaction she has to, like, I believe it was sunlight or something like that.
Oh, weird.
It's just a weird thing that she thought she was by herself with it, and found out that there's another girl that had commented that week on it that knew exactly what she's talking about. So people are connecting also in ways by themselves.
That's crazy.
That about things that they thought nobody else could relate to.
See, I could never think of a fun fact about myself.
There's always, it's just always just something random. It doesn't matter. There's no crazy fact.
I have 6 toes. No, I'm kidding.
See, there we go.
I know.
I would then ask for a photo for proof.
See, I feel like I'm not that interesting. I also just feel like most of my life is kind of an open book because I'm doing this, because I'm always networking. I'm just always having conversations with people. I feel like I kind of tell my whole story always.
There's always something. There's times where I'll sit in front of the computer and I'll have it all written there because I do the little presentation with Fun Fact Friday all bold and big and all that stuff, so it stands out. But there's times I'll sit there for a good hour sometimes with that pulled up on Facebook, trying to think of some random fact that people would find interesting, and then sometimes when it's a good one, the feed just fills up. Then there's times where my fact is really boring and dumb, and nobody says anything.
What's the craziest fact you heard?
Without
providing the name,
the one about the sunlight.
Okay.
About heat and stuff like that, and that
did the person just get a rash or what?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was crazy.
That is random.
So that's probably about the most random fact I've come across, but it's something that I now have a timer on my phone to remind me every week that we gotta post a fun fact about ourselves. I'm going to be pushing that over to the Instagram page this next week because I want to see what we can get from
different
that.
Followers there.
Yep.
And Instagram people are more open, I think. I don't know.
Plus, you got to share a photo, so you get
true.
You get more proof. So that's the best part. But I like interacting with people with it.
Yeah. That reminds me of something that I saw online a while back called Big Talk. It was maybe this YouTube channel or something. It was definitely a video. Maybe it was a Facebook video. But this girl went up. She was about our age, like in between our age, and she would go up to strangers in the park and be like, "Hey, what's your biggest fear?" And she'd have a microphone. And they're like, "What are you talking about?" And they're like, "Well," she goes, "Well, usually people will just kind of pitter patter and talk about the weather, especially in the Midwest. Talk about the weather." Yeah, 90% of my conversations talk about just very fleeting things. And she goes, "That's not really fun. Like, I want to learn who you are as a person." And she made this whole channel about it. And I think there's even like question prompts to use with like you and your significant other or like family members. And it's this whole like movement, I believe. I hope she's still doing it. It was a while ago that I learned about it.
It's awesome. I mean, if you think about it, and I urge people to share it,
Mm-hmm.
or if they don't share it, to tag your friends.
Yeah.
If you share a fun fact about yourself, tag a couple of your friends. Figure out what you can learn about them, because everybody has a ton of different weird, unique things about them. Some people, I think this last week, somebody posted that they'd watched so many movies while being quarantined. Yeah, it's not anything random, and it's not anything glamorous or funny or outrageous, but it's a fun fact. So you sat there, and what movies were they? Did you sit and watch the whole theatrical release of Lord of the Rings?
Yeah.
What was it? You know, is it like me? Fun fact, I'm on season 29 of The Simpsons.
I don't think I've ever watched one episode of The Simpsons.
Neither had I. And if that's a word, neither have I.
Yeah.
Until Disney Plus came out, and when Verizon...
It's on Disney?
It's on Disney Plus.
Really?
And when Verizon was awesome and gave all of their unlimited members a year of free access to Disney, I was like, okay, I will sit here and watch Simpsons. So since Disney Plus has been released, it's taken me this long, and I have 1.5 seasons left.
29?
Yeah, there's 30 seasons, so I'm about a season and a half left, and then I don't know what I'm going to Corona binge watch next.
That's going to become a phrase or a hashtag.
Yeah.
I'm very much a South Park guy. South Park is how I get all my news.
4 times now I've watched the entire season of South Park 4 times now.
The entire series, you mean?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm not sure if that's something to brag about.
Definitely not.
Thanks. Now in defense, like The Simpsons, I don't just sit there and watch it all day long.
You have it on the background.
I do.
Yeah,
like,
I do the same thing.
Especially the animated shows like South Park, Family Guy, American Dad, Futurama. Those shows, you don't really need to just sit there and watch it.
Right.
You can have it going on, like I'll have it on the iPad just off my peripheral. So every once in a while I'll glance over to give me a quick break from what I'm doing. But it's always a background noise.
Sure.
I'm not a music person like I used to be.
Sure.
Where everybody has the radio or iHeart or something like that going. I have Hulu or Disney Plus.
Yeah, there's
going
something
in the
about
background.
that. People just like, some people just naturally, that's a hard word too, just have like noise going on in the background. Like so many people fall asleep with the TV on, or just like, oh my god, do you really?
But it's funny because all day long, I will always have Hulu, Disney, something like that going, except from 3 to 8 in the morning.
That's your time. That's
peace and quiet. My cats are even trained not to make noise at that time.
So you're the reason my internet's so slow recently.
Yep.
Because you're always streaming. Actually, I'm a total geek. I always have Bloomberg Live TV on in the background because I love the stock market and I love investing, and I like seeing they always have breaking news too about like Trump coming on and talking about the coronavirus or whatever it is. So that's kind of my news. But what drives me crazy is I do health insurance, so as you know too.
Yep.
And
go down.
I'm pretty good. My shameless plug.
Yeah.
Modern Health Solutions. Do you know I have a name for my agency now?
No.
Modern Health Solutions.
Did not know
had to be
that.
.org because if I wanted the .com, I had to drop a cool $9,000.
Oh.
Which is so much money for a .com.
You should have just asked.
No, you need those to campaign. But in my Medicare appointments, I'm old school. I like doing in person too. So this whole quarantine is driving me crazy and stir crazy. But going to Medicare appointments, and I don't want to just knock on the old people because it's not just them, but we'll be trying to talk and they'll be getting their Medicare cards out and everything. But in the background, obviously, as you age, your hearing kind of depletes a little bit. They'll just have the TV blasting, and I'm like trying to have a conversation. It's so distracting. But I'm the same way. I have TV on in the background. I'm always listening to podcasts. I'm watching movies in the background while working. Music. I'm still in the music phase.
I wish I was.
Something about that.
2016 kicked me out of the music phase.
The
election was because, like I said before, I love to debate.
Yeah.
So I was always looking at facts, or I was watching the news. I always had Fox on.
Sure.
And that sounds horrible as a candidate.
Sure.
But there's a number of shows that I like, and there's various reasons why.
Yeah.
Like I like to watch Hannity because he cites his sources.
Okay.
So I like people
That's a good reason.
who give facts and then you cite your source.
Can back them up. Yeah.
Exactly, but mainly with them, they're one of the few news stations that give you both sides. They almost always have
Try
a
to be
Democrat
unbiased.
and a Republican being
I gotcha.
interviewed, not just one. They give you multiple sides of it, whether people want to agree with it or not. And that's a whole another tangent we could go on for another hour.
That's a healthy conversation, though.
Yes.
Usually, when you watch television or any sort of news outlet, it's very one-sided.
Yes.
I hate that.
And that's why I like my select shows. I like the Fox and Friends because it's not all political. It gives you an update of everything.
I'm not familiar with that one.
I'm up early, so
Okay.
they're like the 6 to 9 time frame.
Oh, yeah, I'm asleep
So,
still.
yeah, no,
I'm very much a night owl.
Oh my goodness, I'm up till usually about 11 or 12, and then I get up about
So you're
3:30.
like 4 hours of sleep every day? No one's going to vote for you. They're like, this dude's crazy.
Yep.
So-
So about 4 hours. If I sleep in, it's about 5. So
Okay.
5:30 is sleeping in for me.
You're an animal. Tim.
Anything past that
Can
just ruins
the
my
only
day.
ones vote for you? They have to be in your jurisdiction,
Yep.
right? Okay, that's
Yep.
what I thought. I didn't know.
That's about
2,000.
200,000 plus people.
And you know all of them by name, right?
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
Name and occupation. No, I'm just kidding.
I actually do want to reel back into the conversation about campaigning. How has the coronavirus, obviously the quarantine has impacted you a
Yeah.
lot, and now you're doing more things digitally. You
Yep.
even mentioned a few minutes back, but are there any sort of new regulation, like not new regulations, but just regulations and laws you have to follow when you campaign online? Like, because I know, like I said, I know nothing about the rules involved in campaigning.
Online, I honestly don't know.
Okay, bad question.
Just to tell you, I don't really know.
Sure.
I leave that up to Steve.
Okay, so you have a campaign
Yeah.
manager that advises
Yeah.
you through all these things. Got it.
He's the one that directs me the right way. He ran for office before.
What's his name?
Steve McAllister.
Okay. I'm
He's
familiar with him.
He's ran for office before, so he knows the ins and outs, especially when it comes to the election commission.
So he
and all
approved.
that
He's
stuff.
like, this is okay to put out
I
there.
don't put anything out that
Okay.
he doesn't
Oh.
see and overlook first. I mean, I pay him for a reason, so I'm going
Right.
to utilize all of everything that he
Delegation
knows.
is
So
key.
honestly, when it comes to the laws and regulations, I don't really know a lot about that. I depend on
Well, you don't need to.
other people
Mhm.
for that because when you're campaigning, you just don't have the time
Right.
for anything.
Well,
Let
I've just seen
alone
some of
adding
Trump's,
more.
Trump's tweets. I mean, I don't think there are any rules, so tweet away. But no, okay.
No, that was
good to know.
That was an odd question that I wasn't expecting.
It just comes to me.
It's all right.
It's just I'm very much ADHD probably. I haven't been diagnosed, but
That's all right.
I most likely am. Yeah, well, I thank you for braving the quarantine and coming out and doing this interview.
Oh, most definitely.
I hope it does help the campaign and help at least spread the message, and if nothing else, educate people. Because like myself, I mentioned, I'm so uneducated when it comes to this stuff, and it's definitely a flaw I'm trying to work on, which is why I'm getting more involved locally and why I'm meeting with great people like you.
No thanks.
I know after this you
You're
said
not so
you're...
bad yourself.
My mom would probably agree, at least, if no one else. But I know you said after this you got your own Corona quarantine, or what'd you call it?
It's
Quarantine.
a coronacation.
Coronation.
It's a corona vacation.
Yeah, things are heating up. Unfortunately, more people are losing their jobs, and more people are just getting worried and getting sick. So thank you again for taking the time. We usually end with a nice firm handshake, but we'll do the elbow touch. I promise this isn't contagious, so you won't catch my scar.
Not a problem.
But Tim Davis, everyone, Public Service Commission. Primaries are coming up in May, and then
May 12th.
May 12th, and then
Make
November
sure you
is the
vote.
big.
You can
big
do
vote.
online voting, I believe, or mail-in ballot. Yeah, that's what it is.
Got it, yeah.
We have information on my Facebook page.
Yeah, plug that. What is it? What's the
It's
handle?
facebook.com/Tim Davis for Public Service Commission.
Okay.
We have all the information so that you don't have to go out
Mhm.
to the voting booth. You can do it all from home. I just sent in my early ballot
Great.
paperwork.
I got mine actually
this morning.
yesterday.
Yep. So we got ours sent off. That way we don't have to deal with our friend COVID-19. You can also go to the website, timjdavis.com. Go there to donate.
Tim Davis is taken already.
I figured it's a too common of a name. I honestly didn't think.
Or it cost $9,000.
Yep. I didn't
money.
think Tim J. Davis
Mhm.
would be available. So when I saw that was available, I snatched it up right away.
Love it.
But no, you can go there, volunteer, donate.
Mhm.
Of course, go donate.
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, thanks again for being on this, Tim. It was so
No,
much
no
fun.
problem.
We got off track a little bit, but it was a good mix of politics and personal.
I get
it
off
was a good
topic a
interview.
lot. Sorry about that.
Well, I think that shows just your character, that you're authentic, and that you're very much an open book. And I think those
Very
are all
much.
very good qualities to have when it comes to campaigning and elections. So thank you again.
No, not a problem. Thank you.
Mhm.